Welcome back to the channel, everyone. So I know it's been a little while, but we are back today with a Kamigawa Neon Dynasty set booster. And you can see I got the buy a box promo up here. So there it is in all its glory. Satoru Umezawa. And this card I remember people were pretty excited about for that last line where each creature card in your hand has ninjutsu of 2 black blue. So I like the alternate art and the foil and all that stuff. So it's kind of I definitely like this as opposed to the exclusive cards. I mean, the original idea right behind the exclusive cards was that they were going to be, maybe more so for casual, commander type realm, and then of course quickly we got cards that were not that, and then the supply became a huge issue. So I enjoy that they're going back to just making really cool alternate art ones. So yeah, let's crack open this box of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Definitely hyped for this set. Admittedly, I wasn't a huge fan of the original block. Especially remember Saviors of Kamigawa just like having nothing in it that you really wanted to open. It was like Pithing Needle was like the best card. And it's probably close to it still after all these years. And that just should never be the most hyped, exciting card in the set. It's just a hate card stapled onto a cheap artifact. All right, so here we go. We got a nice it's cardboard. It's like a box topper. And there you go. Meet Kato. So they dropped the anime trailer today. And I think Kato was heavily featured alongside the Wanderer. Alright, so let's see what we do and how we do in this pack. So I'm going to try these again, set boosters. I was liking the draft boosters, but gonna give them another shot and see how we do. And there's our art card on top. And flip it around. So we got a land. So I noticed in the draft boosters that you weren't guaranteed to get one of these lands in every pack. And I think you even got some regular ones, which is it's a little disappointing because I mean, I don't know, I feel like you should get one every pack. Just like you get like the full art ones in every pack. Why not reward people instead of making these have a value, right? It's a couple dollars a piece. Kind of annoying if you want to get a bunch of them. And yeah, so we're off and running here. Snakes, always like a snake. Spell Pierce reprint. So lots of good stuff. And you can definitely tell that like these packs are themed or however you want to call them, or you get a lot of the same color. And a ninjutsu, a lot of ninjutsu in this pack, a lot of ninjas. And there's our Saga, Befriending of the Moths. Okay, and we get our rare. So Goro Goro, Disciple of Ryusei. So this is a lot of throwbacks to cards. This particular card calls back to Ryusei, which is the original legendary red dragon. And of course you can see that in the second activated ability where you make a dragon spirit token. So it's all about that. And it's a pretty cool card. I mean, it's the creature you control gain haste for 1 red is pretty sick. Let's put that in our foil. And then our foil is Life of Toshiro Umezawa. So of course a callback to the original powerhouse artifact, Umezawa's Jite. As you can see that the you get to activate basically which was one of the Jite's abilities in the first 2 chapters. And then when it flips over, we get a really nice looking card that is a 2/3 that you can pay 1 life and spend this mana only to cast instant or sorcery spells. So kind of a weird card in that regard, in that you don't really see black getting too many cards that can add mana like that. But of course, there are restrictions on it. The one cool thing about getting like a Saga like that, the double-sided ones in this set, is that being foil, there's a good chance that they will, the foiling will keep it kind of flatter. So there you go. And it looks like we get a spirit token, and we're backwards. Oh. And we get a signed card art, and then we get the swamp. I like the tint of like red on it. All right, and we're off to the races here. So let's see. So we get a lot of white cards in this pack. Born to Drive, like the name. Hotshot Mechanic. Tales of Master Sashiro. So I believe this one turns into the snake, right? Yeah. So we get a giant snake warrior, which of course is a throwback to the original snake legend, Kamigawa. And we get, I believe this is one of the commander cards, Kotori Pilot Prodigy. So vehicles you control of crew 2. So hopefully that's going to reduce it, but I guess in some cases if they accrue 1, it won't. It'll, you know, give you a more expensive option. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, target artifact creature you control gains lifelink and vigilance until end of turn. So pretty nice, you know, the fact that it's 2 colors and it gives you a lot of life is pretty sick. And then we get Invoke Despair. So target opponent sacrifices a creature. If they can't, they lose 2 life and you draw a card. Repeat this process for an enchantment and a planeswalker. So this is, I believe, part of a cycle where they have very mana-intensive spells. Because I believe I got the blue one in my pre-release kit. And yeah, I don't know if this is going to be good enough, but it's certainly, you know, it's an interesting card. It's fun. And then we get Tamiyo's Completion as a foil in the pack. So hopefully that means we're going to get, we've hit 2 lands in a row. We'll get a land for every pack, which would be nice. And there's another signed art card. Is it the same one? No, it's different. Okay. Not the same. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they just make all of them foil signed like that. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Is there like a big market for, let me turn to actually see the art. Is there a big market for like these? I don't know. I think I've seen them before on like card, you know, websites, and I don't know if there's a price difference. Is that great for having the foil signed one? Maybe if they actually had the artist sign them, then yeah, that would be pretty cool. But you know, obviously being just the gold does look nice. It's, you know, obviously not a real signature. Ooh, Clawing Torment. The art card for that one does look really nice. And let's see what we got. Oh, the Bronze Plate Boar. I do like the Reconfigure. Yeah, I do like all the Reconfigure cards. Really cool theming on that. Little critters that help you out. And speaking of the card I was talking about last pack, Invoke the Wind. So this is gain control of target artifact or creature, untap it. So yeah, it definitely feels like there's a cycle. And Okipa Salvage, which is a vehicle-based card. One thing I did notice, ooh, that is a nice spirit token. One thing I did notice, which was a little weird, was that there's like a heavy sort of, you know, vehicle, artifact-themed, you know, reconfigure equipment thing going on, but then there's also like the sagas with enchantments, so, you know, the set does seem to have a lot of themes going on. Oh, that's really nice. That is really cool. I like the, like, toad, like, bike wheel part. That's pretty cool. Okay, so you don't necessarily get a alternate land like the full art lands. Though I do love that art though. That is beautiful. Like if you had those like in a green, black, you know, Golgari style deck, that would be pretty sick. Peerless Samurai. All right, and here we get, and there is the Greater Tanuki. So something I didn't know was that Tanukis are actually dogs. So despite being, you know, very raccoon-like, and even like in Super Mario Bros. 3, when you get the Tanuki suit, you know, I always assumed it was like a squirrel or raccoon, whatever it was. But no, it turns out they're actually dogs. So you learn something new all the time. All right. Ooh, Behold the Unspeakable. That's really cool artwork. Unspeakable was a cool card. It's a shame that these don't actually line up to the original 3 card draw spells that would summon the Unspeakable from your deck in the original Kami block, but it's still pretty cool. I like it. And let's see what the backside looks like. And then Vision of the Unspeakable. So you don't actually get the Unspeakable. You get a vision. And then we get Tameshi Reality Architect. So whenever one or more non-creature permanents are returned to hand, draw a card. The ability triggers only once each turn. So that this ability triggers only once each turn is very heavily used now. You know, a few sets ago I noticed on a few cards, and now it's just like out in full force. So I guess it allows them to print cards that are don't have a cost associated with them, so they can be free like this, but then they're also not set up for abuse. Yeah, I don't know how much I like it, because I think sometimes, you know, drawing like 2 cards a turn, you know, requires a bit of work. And unfortunately with this, you know, you can't get that kind of payoff. You know, but it also prevents you from having to worry about infinite combos with it. And then lastly, there's X White, return a land you control to its owner's hand, return target artifact or enchantment card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. So pretty cool, you get a little bit of recursion there. And then we get Befriending the Moths as a foil. And again, that cool double-sided foiling. And then we get a list card. So Golem Heart. Every player casts an artifact spell, you may gain 1 life. So yes. Gonna go on a pile on its own. Yeah, don't know about that one. That's a yeah, that's definitely a card I don't think anyone's that excited to open in the pack. I prefer probably just to have a token. All right, there's our art card. What card is that? That is Commune with Spirits. Okay. A lot of times I don't even recognize, even if I've seen the card a bunch, just because the art's so blown up. Well, that's cool. Guardians of Boro. Moon Snare Specialist. I do like the alternate art on some of these cards for the showcase frames. They do look pretty sick. Azusa, some Many Journeys. Well, there you go. Azusa Lost But Seeking gets a card. And the Swamp is randomly in the back of the pile. Maybe that's because the land was a dual land at the front. Don't know. And we get our Mecha Titan Core. So this is the card that a lot of people are referring to as like the Megazord, even though I think it's more akin to like Voltron. Either way, it's a card that a bunch of things, you know, can come together to form a 10/10 construct token with Flying, Vigilance, Trample, Lifelink, and Haste. So every color contributes. And then if it gets blown up, all the parts come back except for this. Yeah. So pretty cool. I like the concept. Obviously, it's an interesting concept in favor of Jukai. And we get another list card. So from Eldraine. Yeah, I guess the fox is kind of cool. It fits the theme, but Eldraine wasn't that long ago, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just don't quite understand the point. Oh, is this the Wanderer? Looks like. The Wandering Emperor. There you go. Yeah, I don't know. I guess don't really understand the point of putting that card. I don't know who that's for. It's not even like this is, I don't believe. Oh, that's really cool. I do like me snakes. No, I don't think there's any really, awesome ones. But I do, I don't really understand why you'd print cards that are not in demand, or like, I don't think this is meant to be drafted, right? Because it's the set booster meant to be opened. So yeah, I don't know. Feels kind of like a waste of paper, but that's just me. Ooh, March of Burgeoning Life. I do anytime I see an alternate frame or anything like that, I get excited. The card's not great. Oh yeah, I remember this one. It searches. Yeah, this one's a little bit questionable because the idea is that you can search, choose target creature with mana value less than X. Search your library for a creature card with the same name as that. Put that on the battlefield. So, it gets you another copy of a creature, and you can pay to make it a little bit cheaper. So, don't know if that's not quite a Green Sun Zenith, but what are you gonna do? And then we get Kodai, Soul of Kamigawa. So this is a nice full art one. And it's a 3/3 flying flash. Enters the battlefield. Another target permanent gains indestructible for as long as you control Koyodai. And then you can pay Uber to give it +5/+5 till end of turn. I didn't even know that was a card. That's interesting. I like it. And we get a foil Disruption Protocol. And another list card, and this time it is a commander card. So Rhea Vev, Mastersmith. Whenever a creature you control that's enchanted or equipped attacks, the creature gains double strike. Okay, well at least I'll give him that. At least it's from the commander set, so maybe if you're just playing standard, you've never seen that card, or played, or you're just, buying this for that, and you get like a card you could use in commander. Even though it's only an uncommon, it's still cool. And we get a foil Tranquil Quove, tongue-tied. That's pretty cool. Ogre Ninja, just from the ninjutsu. And I've seen people talk about this card. So it exiles the top card or leaves the battlefield, and then you can make a warrior, which sacrifices it, and obviously will exile the top card. So seems really good in a deck with cheap spells you can always cast off it. And we obviously are hitting the samurai portion of the pack. Era of Enlightenment, very nice. And there is our Wandering Emperor. So she's very interesting in that enter the battlefield this turn, you may activate her loyalty abilities anytime you can cast an instant. And of course it has flash in order to do that. And actually, if you look at all three abilities, while she doesn't have an ultimate, all three abilities are pretty good on your opponent's turn, either making a blocker or giving a creature +1/+1 in first strike, or is even exiling a creature that's attacking you. So, it's pretty cool that, the ability basically gives you a free use of it on your opponent's turn, and then afterwards it becomes just a standard planeswalker. So I like the design of that card. Very cool, because there's only so many ways you can make. Oh, and there is our Mecha Titan. That is really cool art. I like the way it looks. But there's only so many ways you can make planeswalkers, and stuff like this where you can play them as instants and get another use of them. It's pretty cool. It reminds me a little bit of the Teferi that you can activate on your opponent's turn as well. You know, and of course, I think they're doing a good job too. They're not making them too powerful out of the gate, so that you know, they don't have to end up banning everything, and they can kind of slowly see how good these effects, you know, being able to do on your opponent's turn are. And so far, I don't think Teferi was broken or anything. Circuit Hacker. So normally I wouldn't be like a huge fan of like a lot of these kind of cheaper cards getting these alternate, you know, showcase frames, because, you know, who's ever really going to play with them. But they definitely, the art in this set is so awesome. Like I like seeing all these. And there's our Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, the Kappa Tech Wrecker, Turtle Ninja. And of course it, when it deals combat damage to a player, you can remove a death counter from it, death touch counter from it. When you do exile target artifact or enchantment that player controls. So you get basically a one-time use with that. And we get Hinata Dawn Crowned. So this card is a 4/4 flying trampler for 4. And then spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each target, and then spells your opponent cast cost 1 more for each target. So I've seen some interesting ideas played around with this card, in that targeting multiple things, you know, in order to get the benefit. And then you can do a bunch of different things with this. So this is a card definitely look out for, whether it's just strictly, you know, commander casual or not. Is it's cool regardless. And then we get a foil, a Lizard Blade. And this is a equipment, so it's got reconfigure, and it has double strike. So pretty cool. So just you know, 2 mana for 1/1 double strike is pretty standard. But then I guess it's exciting when you reconfigure it, right? And then you can attach it, and then the creature dies, you get your creature back, the equipment back as a 2/2. So it gives you a little more value for equipment. Ooh, and then there's the Koi. That's very nice. And we get a Plains and Guardian. Dragon Spark Reactor. Very nice. It's cool looking. Patchwork Automaton. Enthusiastic Mechanaut. And then we get all those artifacts, and then we get a Saga. Ooh, and Tatsuri the Toad Rider. So I opened this card in my pre-release kit. It's pretty cool, because for 3 mana, you get a 3/3 that whenever you cast an enchantment, it makes the legendary toad that the Toad Rider rides, with the, you know, catch being that you only get it once. But if it dies, you can get it back, right? And then you can also basically make them so that they have flying, both the toad and him. So I like it. Very flavorful, you know, not too expensive. And there is our alternate Mecha Titan core. So this is what the alternate frame looks like. And that, I mean, like the neon look on that is beautiful, right? That really pops. Very nice looking card. I like the art on it. It's pretty cool. You can see all the parts coming together, but then when you add in the fact that, you know, the foiling, very nice. Okay, so we have, looks like some sort of bird. This is Spirit Sister's Call. Oh, and then we get our forest. I think we've seen that one before. And then we're back to, looks like samurais, ronins, koi. No, we're all over the place. Okay, we're into blue now. Network terminal, the shrines. Yeah, I forgot they made all the shrines in this set. So there's a couple of those. And Ruthless Technomancer. So 4 mana. Enters the battlefield, may sacrifice another creature if you do you control. If you do, create treasure tokens equal to that creature's power. Okay, so it lets you convert a creature. So again, the kind of deck that wants to steal your opponent's creatures, it seems pretty cool. And then it also has the ability you can pay 3, sacrifice X artifacts, return target creature card with power X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. X can't be 0. So none of those shenanigans. So an interesting card. And then we get Tamio, Completed Sage. So you can immediately tell the border on this card is a lot different from that. And it has the completed text, which is to my knowledge the only card in existence right now that has completed, where you can make it cost only 4 mana and 2 life, but it comes into play with 2 less loyalty counters. So a nice little change up from just paying 2 life. And the +1 is to tap 1 target artifact or creature. It doesn't untap during its controller untap step, so nice little defensive ability. And then exile X target non-land permanent. Sorry, exile target non-land permanent with mana value X or less from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of it. So pretty cool. Allows you to bring something back effectively. But it's not just you know, creature. In this case, it's a permanent. And then you get a Tamio's Notebook, a legendary colorless artifact token with spells you cast cost 2 less to cast and tap draw card. So it's sort of like, you know, when you get the emblems, except that, you know, this has another 2 abilities on it because you can tap it to draw a card. But of course, being a an artifact, it is, even though it is, I guess it's not, there's no, yeah, there's nothing to stop it. So your opponent can just destroy that. So that is, I guess, the quote unquote downside to it. But yeah, very interesting card. I don't know if it's, I mean, lately a lot of the Planeswalkers, you know, haven't been sort of, you know, I guess dominant, which isn't always a bad thing, right? You don't necessarily want, you know, the top Planeswalkers to dominate every format. Oh, there's a foil swamp. That's beautiful. But I think we've kind of not, you know, we're kind of lacking a little bit in Planeswalkers and, you know, a lot of the, you know, standard and such. So it'd be nice to see if they print some ones that are maybe, you know, can crack the some of the top decks. And there's our DJ. And let's see, Nizumi Prowler, the long reach of Knights. And we get another, looks like we get a Samurai this time. Ryu Storm's Edge. So it's a 3/3 first strike. Whenever a Samurai or Warrior you control attacks alone, untap it. If it's the first combat phase of the turn, there's additional combat phase after this phase. Which is nice because then you essentially get this, you know, attack with the Samurai, it untaps, but then on the second swing, you know, you can attack with everything else, and then you have Debt to the Kami. So you're not kind of, you know, because I know sometimes those effects where you get another combat step, they're trying to, you know, force you just to use the creatures you attack with, where this one's more like, you know, the exalted creature gets their turn to attack, and then everyone else can attack, so you're not just giving up your combat step. Oh, that's, I really like that. Is that some sort of Shinobi biker gang or something? Naishi Moon Sage Scion. Wow, I was way off on that. And then we get our Forced. And let's go through. Ink Rise. Virus Beetle. Spirited Companion. Mech Hanger. Mobilized Mech. So Mech's another life of Umezawa. And we get Biting Palm Ninja. So the alternate showcase art and frame. Edge the battlefield, the Menace counter on it. So that seems like a theme for some of the ninjas. When it deals combat damage to a player, may move the Menace counter. When you do, that player's real hand, choose an island card from and exile that card. So it feels like, you know, rather than just giving them a ninja counter or something, you know, to limit the number of times this effect can get used, you know, instead they're giving it a, you know, a Menace ability, which is kind of cool. I like that because, you know, if you don't want, you know, it gives you incentive to also not remove the counter, right? If it's doing work for you, you don't necessarily have to just toss the counter away. It's not like you're always just going to toss the counter away. And then here's a March of the Burgeoning Life. So this is the regular frame artwork that we saw earlier. And we are Foil Flame Discharge and a Samurai. All right, so it looks like we got another evil looking character, or a Samurai at least. Wandering Emperor. Well, there you go. I guess they're not evil. The art, okay, the purple made it look like she was evil. Reinforced Ronin, Exemplar, Imperial Subduer, Ninja Kunai, that was a cool one. I like that. It reminds me of like the shurikens that were in the original Betrayers of Kamigawa, where you could throw them and then get them back. The Modern Age, ooh. And then we get our first dragon. So this is Junji, the Midnight Sky. So 5 mana, 5/5 flyer menace. And when it dies, choose one. Each opponent discards 2 cards and loses 2 life. And put target non-dragon creature card from the graveyard on the battlefield under control. You lose 2 life. So, and then we get When We Were Young. So, not quite. Maybe not as like, you know, dominating as Kukusho would have been, where your opponent loses 5 and you gain 5. But, you know, having them discard 2 cards at the right time. Like, I do like that. That effect, you know, has a time and a place to be used. And if not, then you can just use the return a creature, right? So there's like one like really good ability, and then one that might be really good, but it's a little more situational. And this is, I believe, the red dragon. Atu Sushi, the Blazing Sky. Yep, so cool. And then we got our land, and let's see. Ooh, Kitsune. Yeah, we didn't see too many Kitsune in the foxes. This is another Mech Hanger, Modern Age, and we get Soul Transfer. So choose one. If you control an artifact and enchantment, as you cast this, you may choose both. Exile target creature or planeswalker, and return target creature or planeswalker from your graveyard to your hand. Well, I haven't really heard anything about this card. That is pretty sick. Because, like, you know, Hero's Downfall was kind of the standard for, well, you know, a few years when it first got printed in Theros block. And, you know, despite being a sorcery, you know, definitely hurts the card a bit. You know, just being able to exile a creature or planeswalker is pretty cool. And then, you know, you get the flexibility of then, or if you're later in the game, or if you're at a point where your opponent doesn't have anything great, or especially if you have something you want to return, you know, being able to pick that up is awesome. And not even, you know, looking at the fact that you might be able to do both, right? If you get an artifact and enchantment. I don't even think you need that for that card to be awesome. And then we have Mirror Box, which is, I believe, a take on the original Mirror Gallery, which says the legend rule doesn't apply to permanents you control. I believe the first one was symmetrical, so obviously this is better. And then on top of that, it gives legendary creatures you control a boost, and then each non-token creature you control gets +1 for each other creature you control with the same name as that creature. So it seems like it helps, you know, creatures that help, you know, legendaries obviously play multiples of it, but even just non-legendaries. And we get a foil mech hanger. So that's definitely an interesting card. Ooh, and we get a Rat Rogue token. Shady looking guy. Definitely a card, you know, that you can build around like commander deck and stuff. A lot of fun stuff you can do with that. Feels like that was almost like, if not for the original card, it would have been like a shoe-in for a commander deck. And this is what, a Plains? Or, yeah, a Plains. Nailed that one. Because I remember seeing the art on that. And we got the upside down again. Okay. Flip it around. Oops. Already dead. Reminds me a little bit of the like the Dungeons and Dragon cards. You know, you see us of so and so or whatever they were called. Those kind of cards. Tribute to the Horobi. So Horobi was like a 4/4 flyer for 4 that whenever you targeted a creature, it destroyed it, I think. I only remember that because the card wasn't great or anything, but you could play it with the legendary lands from that set, which would target legendary creatures. So it gave you like free targets. So you could just, if you want to play legendaries and you played Horobi, you could kill them. So looks like your opponent creates rat tokens. Okay, so your opponent gets a bunch of rats, and then what does it do? Ends the battlefield, gain control all rat tokens. Okay, when it attacks, you may sacrifice another creature if you do draw a card. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So your opponent's incentivized to kill the rats, unless they don't read the back of the card, which I could see, you know, at a pre-release. Opponent not necessarily concerned with all your cards, may just, like, you know, think you're being extra generous, and then the creature on the backside must be really good, and then you don't read it until it flips, and they realize they made a mistake. All right. What is this card? This is Swamp. There you go. And another basic. It's a shame like these aren't full art or something. That'd be really cool. Ooh, the Virus Beetle. Spirited Companion. Silver Fur Master. So this is supposed to be Splinter, the Ninja Turtles. And we get Teachings of Kirin. So mill 3 cards, create a 1/1 spirit. Okay. Put a +1 counter on target creature. That happens a lot with a lot of +1 counters on these cards. And then it transforms. Okay, better be pretty good. Attacks, choose 1. Exile target card from the graveyard, create a 1/1 spirit. And when an exile target non-creature card, put a +1 counter on target creature. It's a little underwhelming. Maybe not. Maybe as like a 2-mana creature, it's okay. But I mean, I think for limited, that card's probably like awesome, right? Because you get a 1/1, and then you get the counter, and then it flips into a 1/1 that does more. So it's probably amazing in that format. But just as reading it, ooh, that's a cool one. That is a Peerless Samurai. All right, we're back to Sweet Dragon Mountains. All right, Flame Discharge, Invigorating Hot Spring. I like the name. Michiko's Reign of Truth. So it gives a creature +1 for each enchantment you control, an artifact. And then the portrait of Michiko gets +1 for each artifact and enchantment you control. So I believe this is being played like in modern/pioneer decks, in my understanding. Just because you play obviously a bunch of these, and you get like a 4/4, 5/5, whatever for 2 mana. It's pretty sick. And then the rare is Restoration of El Gonjo. So a lot of text in this one. Search value for basic land, put it in your hand. May discard a card. When you do, return target permanent card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Okay, so you get a little bit of synergy there. We can pitch the card and then return it. And then exile it, and you get a 3/4 Vigilance, Architect of Restoration, Attacks or blocks create a 1/1 spirit token. That's not bad. 3 mana, 3/4. I have to see how these sagas kind of play out. Ooh, and a construct token. Yeah, obviously I have no idea how good or bad these are going to be, but you know, I can see the sagas doing some work. It's weird not having them not like go to the graveyard, right? Because these ones get to come back. Oh, this is a really nice one, Tameo. Very cool. And this is completed, or nope? Yep, that's completed. So it must be, I'm guessing, an alternate frame art, extended art. Ooh, there's the Splinter as the alternate showcase. A lot of alternates going on here, I guess. And then we get a Ninja Turtle as well in the pack, and a Spinning Wheel. And we get a regular one. That's pretty cool. A lot of that going on in this pack. Okay, Tales of Master Shishiro. We saw that one earlier. Another life, and we get Takunuma Abandoned Mire. So this is, of course, part of the cycle. So this one, for 4 mana, you mill 3 cards and return a creature or planeswalker from your graveyard to your hand. Its ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. So that one may not seem as exciting. And then we get Kitsune, and then, oh, the surprise, we get a Shrine from the... Oh, they didn't even put it from the original set. It's from, what's that? Eternal Masters? Why didn't they put it from the original Kamigawa set? I don't understand that. Why would you not put it in the original? The ugly logo on it. I know they've tried to like do a bunch of like black return creatures or return creature cards in your hand. Like there was one I thought was actually pretty good in like the Battle for Zendikar block where it just put it on top. I think it came to be tapped, and that card saw like 0 play. Obviously, the difference between this one being that it's purely like it can function on its own. That's, I mean, that card had a big downside, right? It went on top of your deck, and then land can play tapped. Where obviously this is just returning it. Oh, that's really beautiful. Wow, the cranes in the front. But I think all those lands in that cycle are going to be, you know, quite good. The lack of a downside is real, right? So fingers crossed we get the green one. Could always need more of those. We get the blue one though. Atawara Soaring City. So again, this one costs 4, and then it returns an artifact, creature, enchantment, or planeswalker to its owner's hand. So again, the utility on this is, and we get a foil, Fable the Mirror Breaker. There you go. Gold Reflection of Kikijiki. It's a cool card. And a Portal Noxious Toad. So at least this is like Portal. It's got the old like sword and shield for the power toughness. You know, it looks kind of cool. That I'll give it a pass. But yeah, just giving you the options with the channel lands is just so cool. Like, and the fact that they're, besides just, you know, the downside is that they're non-basics. That's the downside, right? Looks like Ewan McGregor there as Obi-Wan. All right, so you get snake, the sneaky snake. Let's see. All right, Cobra Technician, Okiba Reckoner Raid. So just a little drain gain 1, and then you get a 2/2 menace. Vehicles you control have menace, so that's a cool text. Vote Calamity. So this is our quadruple red. So you may cast up to 2 instant or sorcery spells with total mana 6 or less from your graveyard and or hand without paying their mana cost. If those spells are put in your graveyard, exile them instead. Exile and Vote Calamity. So all the exile going on there. That's a cool card. I do like it. And then we get a foil snake, which I'm always a big fan of. Then our pilot. Yeah, that, you know, it's questionable whether that's going to be too good, not good enough. I don't know. It's you know, I'm not a Storm-ish player or whatever you want to be. Oh, that's really cool. Is that a Kitsune? Blade, Blizzard, Kitsune. See, I know stuff. Bloodfell Caves, and a Hacker, a Cobra Technician, Boar, lots of good stuff. More shrines, Roadside Reliquary, Here of Enlightenment, and Invoke Justice. So I think we're almost got the entire cycle of these cards. So this one returns target permanent from graveyard to the battlefield and distribute 4+1 counters among any number of creatures and or vehicles target player controls. So a little expensive for a reanimate. You know, the usually like 5 is kind of the standard now, but this one obviously has a lot of white mana symbols. So in theory, it should cost more. Putting the 4 counters on is nice, but yeah, I'd be kind of surprised. Ooh, we get a Coiling Stalker foil. You know, I'd be surprised if that was, you know, wasn't can fit in a lot of decks. And we get an M20 uncommon. There you go. So yeah, the list cards definitely are the definition of hit or miss. And I think so far we've all just we've all just missed on those. But man, if you hit like a Renin 6 or something, yeah, that just screams value right out of your box. So that's why I don't get too caught up in what those are, because I've been, I usually you average probably like one decent one in a box, but not guaranteed to happen. But we get a Plains in that spot. And Cloud Steel Curin. So it's a reconfigured creature. So this one's a 3/2 flyer. And then when it's equipped, the equipped creature is flying, and your opponents can't lose the game. And your opponents can't. You can't lose the game. Your opponents can't win the game. There you go. Eventually got it out there. So that's of course a nod to Platinum Angel. And then another. This one actually does have the Saviors Kamigawa logo. But again, is a card that I don't think anyone is happy to get. I already have hundreds of those. Like, I'm pretty sure I've given those away at some point, that card, because, who really is demanding that? So I'll give them, at least it's a card from the original Kamigawa block. They've done a good job of that, making sure those cards get represented. Ooh, that's a cool one. That is Yoshimaru, Ever Faithful. And we get another foil land. So this is a foil mountain. And Fang of Shigeki. Okay. So we're still holding out hope. We get the Boseiju. That's the card I really want. And then we get Myojin of Grim Betrayal. So I believe this is another commander card. I think the Myojins were based on the original ones, the Champions of Kamigawa, but I believe they're only the commander, and you can tell because the set number is, set number is out of 38, so you can see that it's a commander card. So they all enter with indestructible counters, and then this one, when you remove the counter, put on the battlefield under your control all creatures, cards, and graveyards that were put there from anywhere this turn. So pretty strong, but of course it has that rider that has to be cast from hand to get the counter, so you can't cheat into play. And we have Grease Fang, Okiba Boss. So at the beginning of combat on your turn, return target vehicle from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. So pretty cool in that you get to bring it back. But the only downside being is that you will go back to your hand, so you have to recast it. And then that triggers at the end step, so you can't put it back into play right away. So, and our treasure token. So I do like that. It's very nicely costed at 3 mana for 4/3/2. So most likely you'll be able to crew the turn you play it, or whatever you get back. Oh, this is a really cool card. Very nice. Whoops. Now I'm throwing cards all over the place. Okay, well you can see that there is, there we go. Island, an alternate showcase captain, Seven-Tail Mentor. Fade into Antiquity, Harmonious Emergence, Crackling. Yep, I don't know why I'm naming all the cards, but that has definitely been, it's a little bit higher on the, not quite centered. Then we have March of Wretched Sorrow. So this is X, and in addition, okay, this is one of the ones you have to pay. You can exile cards, reduce it by 2, and then the deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, and you gain X life. Ooh, the Colossal Sky Turtle. So this one is interesting in that you probably want to channel it more than anything. That's the interesting, like, the cool thing about like a lot of the channel cards is like the channel is probably like the most exciting part of the card, and it takes up such little text that you kind of have to almost look at it differently than it appears, in that, in that case, the creature takes up a lot of the text, and the channel abilities are kind of near, the middle and the bottom, while that's often the abilities you're going to be triggering the most. So, and here's another foil land. Wow, 3 in a box. This is beautiful. And there we go. All right, and we get Kotos, the Silent Spider. So this has a lot of text. So what it does is, when it enters the battlefield, exile target card and then basic land from the opponent's graveyard, search that player's graveyard, library, hand, all that stuff for any number of cards the same name as them, exile them, that player shuffles their library for as long as you control this creature. You may play one of the exile cards, and you may spend mana over any mana of any color to cast it. So really what that card does is it allows you to you know, steal a card. There's been a bunch of like Cranial Extraction was the original card and actually was in Champion Kamigawa that did that effect. And then it has the additional rider that you can then cast them now. So interesting the way it's done. Oh, this is Tezzeret. Yes, it is. Tezzeret. Ooh, that's a nice swamp. All right. So yeah, we did pretty well so far in hitting like a lot of a couple planeswalkers, which is cool. And then Ishin, 2 Heaven as 1. So this is a Mardu card. If attacking causes a triggered ability of permanent control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So I believe this is on a Gruul creature that's in the Adventures in the Forgotten Realm Commander Precon. So it's cool that this is like ability's been reproduced, but it's funny that's on a Mardu card this time. All right, we're down to 4 packs, so fingers crossed we get what we're looking for. Planes, and then let's see. There's a Tanuki again, an Octopus, Azusa, and we get Mind Link Mech. So it's a 4/3 flyer, crew 1. And when it becomes crewed for the first time each turn, blended turn, it becomes a copy of target non-legendary creature that crewed it this turn, except it's a 4/3. Oh, that's really cool. So essentially it becomes a copy of a, whatever you clone it with, so, or crew it with, I should say. And then we get our Weaver of Harmony as a foil. And then it gives other enchantment creatures +1. And then copy target activate or trigger new control from an enchantment source. You may choose new targets. So seems like a pretty fun card, especially like casual. And we get, oh, there's the Timio's notebook. So that's pretty sick. Yeah, so that's cool though, like for, an enchantment EDH check or whatever. Or commander, I should say. All right, and there's a bunch of the Moonfolk. We get a foil swamp. That's a cool swamp. And then let's just power through this one. Let's see how we do. And we get another Myogen. This is Towering Might. So again, same rider. If you cast from hand, get the counter. You can move the counter from it. Distribute 8 +1 counters, remaining number of target creatures you control to gain trample. So what's really cool about that is normally that would have like a activated as a sorcery or something. But because it doesn't, obviously, you can activate it during combat and really mess up your opponent. Or even just the idea that you're going to threaten to do it, right? Putting 8 counters and giving something trample is pretty strong, even if you never, activate it right away. Pretty good ability to threaten. And we get the Reality Chip. So look at that line. Legendary artifact creature and equipment jellyfish. Like how small that text is. I don't think I've ever seen that small text on a card. So you may look at the top card of your library at any time. As long as Reality Chip is attached to a creature, you may play lands and cast spells on the top of your library. So it's only 2 mana to play it as a creature. So you can think of that as like, your regular cost, and then your equip cost is 3. Well, the nice thing is you get a 0/4 in the meantime. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. Play lands and cast spells on top of your library is very strong. So I can see why there's a bit of talk about that card. We get Suit Up. And what do we have here? Rune of the Hidden Realm. So this is, I believe, a commander card. And then 4/4 Vigilance Trample. Exile another target creature. Return the card to the battlefield and return under control at the beginning of the next end step. So you can kind of do some sort of pseudo blinking effects. So that, I'm guessing that's from Bant and Alara. Ooh, I like the Construct token. That's really cool. And we get the Dragon. I believe that's the one that we opened. And Scoured Barrens. You can see why it's important that they give like those kind of that cycle of lands like a generic name. That way they can use it in different sets and not have to continually come up with new names. And we get, our Buy a Box promo. There it is. So, I mean, both artwork are awesome looking. So, very cool. And we get a foil shrine. And then last pack. All right, there it is. Ooh, that's a cool one. Repel the Vial. Ooh. Okay. All right. Boom. There's another. That's another one, good one to get. And we get March of Reckless Joy. So this is the X one. So this is pay X and X top. exile to X top of your library. You play 2 of those cards until end of turn. Okay, so there is a bit of a drawback, and then you can only play 2, but you can dig for more, and then we get a foil replication specialist. All right, so let me just see how many mythics do we end up getting in this box, because I'm not counting the list cards as mythics. So we ended up with, let's see, just curious to see how many. Oh, I guess the set symbol is different. If I looked at that for the commander cards, that would be a good indicator of what is. Okay, we got a dragon, Tameo, the Wanderer, and that doesn't count because that's a commander card. So I think we only actually ended up with three mythics out of the box, which is yeah, not great, not great. So we cut those out. Let me see what the actual number of rares we ended up with. We cut out the commander only cards. So I think we got 3 that are from that group. So we ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. 3, 34, 35. So we almost end up with the same number of rares as a draft box. But we only got 3 mythics out of it. So I don't know. I thought, I'm going to give set boosters a chance, but the foils I can give or take. They're nice. Getting some of the foil lands and stuff like that are nice, but I don't know if it's necessarily, for me, I don't know if I would take this over a draft box because, as nice as getting like stuff like the commander cards are, I don't think, I can get those just by buying the precons and stuff like that, right? Like I'd rather just get more mythics. So, overall, there's some good in the box. Obviously, we hit decently on the mythics. Cool stuff. The dragon looks cool, and the 2 planeswalkers are awesome. But yeah, I don't know. Was not loving. The product hasn't convinced me yet that it's worth getting over just traditional draft boxes. But I don't know. We'll see in the future. Anyways, thanks for watching. I appreciate everyone, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.